All right. Hey, everybody. Jeff Gibby here. Welcome to the MetaStock webinar. Today, we're going to have another presentation by Ed Downs, who's actually going to show us a little bit deeper into the AI engine, the Fulgent AI engine, and how to kind of train stuff and get things running. So I'm pretty excited to go kind of do a little bit of a deeper dive today. Let's go ahead and get started with our legal disclaimer. Today's demonstration is designed to instruct you on using MetaStock and the accompanying software plugins. It is not a recommendation to buy or sell, but rather guidelines to interpreting and using the specific indicators and features within the software. The information, software, and techniques presented today should only be used by investors who are aware of the risk inherent in trading, and MetaStock shall have no liability for any investment decisions based on the use of their software, any trading strategies, or any information provided in connection with the company. So with that being said, I'm just going to go ahead and bring over Ed Downs, so you should be able to see him on the screen. I'm going to, Ed, how are you doing today?
Doing great, Jeffrey. Good to hear from you again.
Yeah, welcome back. Welcome back. I'm going to turn on the sharing for you.
Okay.
I always kind of talk a little bit about like your history with MetaStock, and I think I'm going to leave that up to you today, and just have. I want to hear your version of it.
Oh, sure. I'm happy to do that. Yeah, we go way back, as of course you know, and folks have been my other webinars have heard me talk about this. My whole thing, what drives me and has for many, many years is automating stuff. I'm a design engineer going back 35 years or so ago with electronic circuit design and automating that kind of stuff. And I just love making a computer do things by itself and just coming up with an answer. Just gets me jazzed. So I started trading way back then, and one thing led to another, and I ended up starting a company called Nirvana Systems that's really focused on automation of various kinds of trading things. And so back in the day, we had these utilities that actually were able to automate software from the outside, and we made some for MetaStock. And I met Steve Akalis, great guy who started, it was called Equus International, of course, at that time. And he saw what we had done. And these utilities would actually make MetaStock do all these things. It was the DOS version, so that's way, way back there. And I think MetaStock probably does all those things now by itself. But we added some utilities that made it run system tests and look for signals and all kinds of stuff like that. And so Steve graciously allowed us to provide that to the MetaStock customer base. And that's really kind of got us launched with Nirvana Systems. But since then, my focus has remained on automation. Like I said, we have several kinds of things that do that. But the real big one, the one that I'm really the most excited about, is our artificial intelligence. Because when you talk about a computer, just figuring out when to trade the market, I mean, that's what you have to have. So it's really fun. It's a very challenging problem. We've been working on it we actually worked on the AI for 26 years and improving it all this time. Lots of different, trial and error, trying different things, different kinds of neural networks and all this stuff over time. And so it's pretty mature now. And you may be wondering, well, why do you see this Fulgent name? Well, Fulgent is a subsidiary we started to really focus on getting the AI out there in the marketplace and perfecting it. And one of the things that we did is we said, well, look, let's provide this AI to, folks like, MetaStock users who would like the advantage of AI-based signals but don't want to go learn another platform because you love MetaStock, and I don't blame you. It's awesome. I've been really touting the virtues of the option capability it has and other things in MetaStock 17. So these guys are really good at making great software and supporting it. Been supported by them so well in this development. So it's been a lot of fun. Love Jeffrey and the team over there. I just love doing these because they're just like family. So that's kind of a history of me and Fulgent. And so right now we are providing these AI-based strategies and experts in MetaStock, and it's kind of a universal application that has a lot of other uses. So
the broadcast is now starting. All attendees are in listen-only mode.
So Jeffrey, if you're there, I just heard the broadcast is starting.
Yeah. We were wondering, and a lot of people were talking about how they couldn't hear in the GoToWebinar application. So people have been able to hear what you said on YouTube, but somebody forgot to start the broadcast. So
I've done that. I've done it. That's okay. I can do a short version again.
Yeah. I think we can skip the legal disclaimer. Hopefully, everybody had a chance to read it. But yeah, I'm going to just turn the time over to you, and I wouldn't worry about spending too much time on it since everybody in YouTube heard it. And but
Oh,
yeah, maybe just an abbreviated version. Sorry
yeah, I'll
about
do
that,
like
Ed.
about a third strength. Okay. So what I was saying while the broadcast was waiting to be started is that I have a long history with MetaStock. Originally, of course, it was Equus International, started by Steve Akalis, and my whole thing is automation. That's what I do. That's my shtick, going back to automated design of circuit boards, and so that led to the creation of the start of my company, Nirvana Systems, and we started building these automated utilities that automated DOS MetaStock from the outside. Steve Akalis loved what we did and let us bring those out to the customer base. So that was my first experience back in 1991 with the MetaStock folk. And we've had a good relationship since then, have connected on various projects. This is the one I'm really excited about. Talked to Jeffrey, I guess maybe a year and a half ago, a couple years ago, about bringing artificial intelligence into MetaStock. And he again graciously said, "Hey, that sounds pretty good. Let's give it a go." So we did it. We took our AI technology, which is now about 26 years old. We've been working on it continuously, and we adapted it to run in the background in Windows to connect to MetaStock. So here we are. And the company, the subsidiary that drives the AI is called Fulgent Technologies. That means brilliant in Latin. And it is a subsidiary that is really focused on the AI and improving it even more and more and getting it out there. So we have built these these AI experts for MetaStock. We'll be looking at them today. But the topic of today's webinar is something that has been requested, and I think it's a really good thing to get into. So this is going to be kind of a nuts and bolts sort of thing. I want to show you how you can take this AI technology and actually apply it to whatever you want. It's an open system. We had customers requesting this back after we released in end of the summer, saying, "Hey, can I train on my own stuff? And I want to train on Forex, I want to train on futures, and get AI signals out of those different instruments, and also real time." So we added that capability to the Fulgent AI platform, and so this will be about that and kind of how it works. So let's go. I hope we have got a lot of users on because I hope to help you in this process, and also some things to tell you about that are coming very shortly that we're doing right now. So in the webinar, we're going to look at Fulgent really briefly. I normally spend quite a bit of time on that, but we're not going to do that today. I'm just going to this is what it is. And then we'll look at retraining, how that happens, and the interface and the controls that you have for retraining, and even why you want to do it. So we'll go over that, and then look also at retraining with custom indicators. So let's go ahead and dive in here and look at the AI itself. So the point that I always make about 5 or 10 minutes into my spiel on what AI is that there are just like these gazillions of opportunities out there and ways to look at the market, different indicators working together. And you can see there in the lower left corner in that universe of opportunities, I've got a trading rule that says RSI 14 less than 30, momentum of 7 periods greater than 0, the volume is greater than yesterday's volume, and CCI 21 less than 10. So that's like a trading rule. And there is literally a truly infinite number of different trading rules out there. So what we use the AI for is to find them. And we don't really even care what they are, what it finds. We don't really go look at what they are too much. We just look at the performance that we see in the history. And then that gives us an indication as to how well that particular rule is going to work in the real market. So the only way that I know to do this, as I said, I mean, this is the thing. If you really want a computer to go finding how to trade the market, you've got to use AI. It's just, and there are a lot of flavors of AI out there. You've probably heard about, machine learning and neural networks and deep learning and things like that. The thing that we use for our AI, and this is after much experimentation with neural networks and everything else, is something called a genetic algorithm. And what it's doing is it's looking at these different inputs, we call them, or genes. It's a genetic algorithm. So, you got to have the nomenclature, right? So a gene is nothing more than a condition, like RSI 14 less than 30, or the close above the moving average of, let's say, 200 periods. So those are individual things. And there are hundreds of them in the software, and it is calculating all of them on all the data. So we feed this thing 100,000 bars of data, and it is looking at every place that these things happen and trying to find ones that work well together. And it does that by swapping them around and mutating, the chromosome, which is a hypothetical rule with different things on it. And it just kind of does that till it finds a good one and says, oh, here's a good one. And it puts it over in the little good bin and it keeps looking. And then it borrows stuff from the good one every now and then to make another one. Hopefully it's good. And then it tests it across all the data. So every single potential rule, it's got to look at that 100,000 bars of data and figure out if that rule is profitable in that data. Then we also do out of sample validation and things like that, because you can curve fit with stuff like this. Anything that's looking for a specific sequence of things in the market. Well, if you optimize a strategy and too much and expect that to hold up, it won't. So we have a lot of things internally to prevent that sort of thing. And as a result, it's a very robust system. So basically what's happening is over time, it is evolving this population of rules to get thousands. I mean, some of our knowledge bases have, in excess of 3, 4, 5,000 rules. So there it is, the knowledge base, and there's a little representative rule in there for one of our strategies. It's one of my favorites called Quick Move. And so that's basically, what it's doing is it's building up this repository of rules that it's finding out there. Okay, so that's the really quick tour on the AI stuff. Now let's get down to brass tacks here and talk very, very quickly about the implementation of our AI in MetaStock. So you've got the knowledge base over there. There's this engine running in the background, and it is talking to MetaStock. MetaStock says, here's all this data. Here's 100,000 bars of data. See what you got. And it goes in the knowledge base and is looking for matches. And then they come back as signals. And they're really good signals. You can see that in this chart on American Express. It comes, of course, there's an expert advisor, exploration, and system test, the standard tools that you really need in MetaStock to evaluate things and to use this kind of technology. We have 4 different experts: reversal, swing trade, volatility breakout, and quick move, and they're looking for different things. So each expert is trained to a different kind of signal, and that helps it, to find profitable signals, honestly. And the thing we're going to be looking at in the software is how you actually activate it in just a second. We actually implemented a menu in the MetaStock system in the tools dropdown for our product. So when you go down there and you select Fulgent AI right there, it brings up the Fulgent AI interface, and then you can do the things that we're going to be doing. So it's pretty straightforward. Like, so you'll get real comfortable with it once I get in there and start doing it. So the other thing, what else I have here? Yes. So you can actually individually activate those experts. We're going to be doing that, and also selecting longs and shorts individually or both, and that kind of thing. So it's pretty simple. You don't have to know a lot. You just turn things on, basically. Okay, and that's also true for trading. Now, one thing I want to say about anything like this, and this goes for optimization of systems, finding rules in a backtest, is that you have to have out of sample data for it to be valid, and we do out of sample validation. All of the rules that you'll see today were created before January 1st, 2018. But before, while they were being created, we were looking at out of sample data and other data to create the rules. So it's very important that you do that and make sure that your stuff is holding up in the out of sample. And we're very rigorous about that, having done it all these years, right? Okay, so very important, because you don't want to fool yourself with some rule, 90% accurate, yay, bet the farm. Well, maybe not. So you got to be careful. Okay, so we're pretty rigorous on that. And if you were to take the way in MetaStock that you find out if a trading system is working pretty well is in the system tester. And so we've tested Fulgent against lots of the systems that are in MetaStock, kind of the basic default ones. And it's come out really well. This is a test I did against a bunch of experts, and also against some of the other ones out there. But that generally it'll come up near the top or at the top of a test. So that's telling you that and that's in out of sample data, right, after 2018. So that's important, and we did that testing early on just to make sure that it was performing well, for people getting it. All right, now we come to the topic of the webinar today, which is retraining the experts in Fulgent AI. And so why do you want to do this? Well, you may have, we train on the Dow 30 because we found that particular list is very robust. It's very representative of the rest of the stock market. And so that's primarily what we use. But you may be trading the FANG stocks, or you may be trading a particular industry group that you really like, and you want your AI to be tuned to that specifically. So you can retrain the AI to find brand new rules in the data based on that data, this data you're trading. Also, you may be trading futures or Forex, specialized. I've talked to customers who really are into Forex. They just love it. The leverage is amazing, and they've done really well with it, and they want with MetaStock, and they want to extend their lead a little bit with the AI. So they've contacted me about training and that sort of thing on Forex, and what you can do with this product, even though it's 4 stocks. And I'll be talking about the differences there in a minute. Real time. So the point is, a bar is a bar, right? If it's a real time bar, end of day bar, the 100 or so indicators, and some of them have like 300 indicators. I believe Swing Trade has 350. It can calculate those on any data. Now, some of them are very specific to the stock market, like days to earnings, things like that. We have a repository we can access to get that data. But most things, moving average, MACD, RSI, CCI, that's just looking at the movement in the market, the ebb and flow of the market, and trying to figure out where the patterns are, the profitable patterns. So, that's why it will work on any data. It is designed for stocks, but like I say, it will work on the others. So, okay, let's go ahead and look now at the steps you use to train. Before we do, let me go ahead and go over to MetaStock here after I unlock my machine real quick. There it is, and this is the basic Fulgent AI as it comes out of the box. So this isn't a Fulgent AI general webinar, like a sales webinar. This is nuts and bolts. So, normally I go through lots of charts, but you can just generally see that these signals where they're firing are really, really good. About 75% accurate. So this is American Express. I can go clicking through charts here, but I won't do that today. We're going to actually look at training. So let's go ahead and dive into it. But you can see the different experts firing in here. And if I click, in the middle, once it accesses the engine there, it should come back and tell me about that signal. Probably because I just took it out of sleep. It's doing that. Let's see here. Okay. There we go. So this is it gives you some stats on it over here, like how many times that particular rule. It is one rule that is firing that signal out of thousands. So how many times it occurred, what the average accuracy was in the testing period, and the average profits. Kind of helps you figure out which ones are better than others by looking at that. Really quick overview of what this is, but it really is that simple. There's not a lot of interpretation, or you got to look at this indicator, crossing that indicator, or anything like that. It's just, there's the signal. It's an opportunity. Look at the chart, and people, I think I've heard good feedback from MetaStock users that as they use this, they really get comfortable with, hey, I want to see these signals coming up. Okay, so that's basic Fulgent AI. Now, let's move on and talk about the training. There is a manual, of course, for Fulgent AI, and we recently, in version 1.1, added the training feature, and it is documented in the manual in chapter 9. So I've got some excerpts from it. I'm going to kind of go back and forth between the software and these slides. Try not to be too crazy about that, but anyway, so let's just go ahead and do it here. So the first thing is, you want to go in and figure out what you want to train. And so you go into the interface and you actually select the thing that is, that you want to train on. You can retrain everything. It does take a little while. We're going to be training the fastest one today to demonstrate this, but you can turn all of them on and train them, and they'll just train back to back to back. And like I said, it takes a while. It's a big universe of stuff out there. It's got to look through. So, but you can individually select those. So let's go ahead and go into MetaStock and look at that real quick. So again, the menu is here, and it is the Fulgent AI selection. Very simple, and there it is. There just isn't a lot to it. You'll see there's 2 lines here. This is a strategy, the FT stocks strategy, which contains experts. If I double click that, I'll see the experts there, and they're all on, right? I can individually turn them off and refresh the chart, and it will just show this one, or just show this one, or just show the longs, or just the shorts, or whatever. So that's how you control it. The retraining is what happens when you retrain is it creates this copy over here. And that's what we're going to be doing is retraining into that in just a second. But then it has the same experts. If you train the same experts, they're just sitting in there. So this one never gets messed with. It stays the stock thing that you got from us. When you retrain, you're replacing those experts with retrained ones, and they end up in here. So that's pretty much what it does. Now, before you start training, though, you really need to decide what is your objective. What are you really trying to do? And so what are you trying to train on? So you have to decide on your symbol list. And what we're going to do for a little demo today is train on Forex, because that looked pretty cool. And if we have, I'm going to go through it and do it and talk about the other thing about training indicators. And then we can go back and I can do a run on futures. I've tried many things, real-time end of day. I just want to show you how to do it. It's easy. MetaStock's easy to use. So this is no big deal. Okay. So the first thing is your list, right? So we're gonna go in here and go into the chart, because what I want to do is plot the chart of the thing I'm going to trade just so it's here. So I'm going to say, let's turn off everything and actually close. Let's see. Well, no, I'll just leave that on for now. So I'm going to come down here. I want to find, I was doing futures a little while ago. I'm going to find Forex down here. Where is Forex? Aha, there it is, Forex, the major pairs. And let's do the Euro Japanese yen right there. So I've got that checked. And, so I'm now am preparing to open that chart. I can open a whole bunch, of course. But let's just go ahead and open that one. And there it is. Okay. And it has to consult the engine. So what should happen here is that the Fulgent collection that I have running should run on this data, because it doesn't care what the data is, right? And you can see actually that these signals are pretty darn good with no retraining at all. Just using the thing as is. And I know people are doing this because, again, it's just movement. I mean, you have pullbacks, overbought, oversold, consolidations. All of these things that we use in technical analysis happen everywhere. It's in any freely traded market. So it really is pretty good just without doing anything, okay? But we're gonna jazz this up a little bit because we want to retrain on this sucker. So let's go ahead and go over here and move into that. So back to the slides. And we want to activate this little expert right here called Fulgent AI on stocks training. And I'm going to explain what that does in a second. Well, it actually says it right there. So it is going to pass data over to Fulgent so it can train on it. That's what its job is. So, and the next thing, before I go over there and do it, I'll just show this to you. And I provide these presentations to folks who email me, ed@fulgent.ai. And that's also at the end of the presentation. You'll see it. So, you can get these slides and other assets and notifications on updates. So what you do is you're going to select that expert there, the training expert, and and make sure that you're loading enough bars of data and that you have picked the list that you want it to run on, or the symbols you want it to run on. So you kind of need those three things. Now down here, there's a little note. This is really important because you want to have enough data so it can find things. You really need like 100,000 bars of data. I mean, that's ideal. So MetaStock will load 32,000 bars. So if let's say you're trading on Forex, you could do 3 Forex pairs. I'm just going to load one. Well, we'll do. Well, I've been using one for testing, so I'll just do one. But you can turn on as many as you want. It just takes a little longer. It's got to pass all that data over right to the thing. So, but 100,000 is a good target. So if you have 100 stocks, you want to have 1,000 bars per, like what's that? Almost 3 years of data. Not a lot of data really, but you want to make sure you do that. So let's go into MetaStock now, and we're going to do that. All right. So I will go to the nice little Power Console, down to Explore, and we're going to do those 3 things I just said. The first is pick the expert. Let's go down here and find him. There's that awesome Fulgent AI training. It's already checked. That's nice. Okay, so there it is. Now the other one, Fulgent AI stocks, is the one you use for just getting signals out there. This doesn't do that. This passes the data over to be trained. So there you go on that. Then you want to come down here and find your data that you're going to train on. I ran this a little while ago. No, it's not here. So let me see. Nothing else is selected. That's good. So I want to run on the EURJPY. And like I said, I can also pick several of these. I'm just going to pick one for, it doesn't take very long, but let's just do one for now. So one contract, and make sure that I'm loading enough bars. So you can see here it says records to load 30,000 records. And I've got daily selected. I could pick hourly, I could pick minute. Let's just go ahead and do a run on daily and see what happens with that. So, but this is Fulgent Retraining Central right here. This is really where you do everything. There is a nuance about the formula that targets specific bars, and that's in the next section on retraining to your own custom formulas. But aside from that, if you want to change that, which you don't have to, this is where you do everything. Okay, so I've got all those three things all set up just right. So let's start the exploration. And it is now passing the data over to Fulgent. Now, once the data is over there and it's all happy, it's got it, and it starts to run the indicators, you see this window pop up. And it's really pretty cool. It says, oh wait, actually, hold on a second. I didn't set my experts. This one takes a while to run. So let me do this again. I did not do that step I told you a few minutes ago you have to do. So hold on. I want to pick an expert, which I didn't do. So it was going to try to train all of them. All right. Okay, so here, hold on a second. All right, I think I got it. I think. Let me see here. Let me make sure. Fulgent AI. Tools, Fulgent AI. I may have just closed Fulgent AI. Oh, okay, I think I did do that. Dadgummit. All right, hold on a second. I'll get it back here really quickly.
While you're, it might be a good time to answer a question while you're rebooting.
Sure. Far away on that.
Right.
I'm going to go get the application here. So
in YouTube, we had a question I promised to ask FT Lutu, and he wanted to know, is the indicator lagging? As I always get a signal on the previous day candle and not the current candle when I use this after end of day for the Indian market. So normally the signal should appear on the current day, correct?
So it's going to find it's an end of day system, so it's going to find the signal from the day before. So so like let's say on Monday it generates a signal. That signal is really to be traded on Tuesday. So I think that answers your question. I'm not quite sure, but it should. But there is a day lag. Now the other thing is, so it can't enter the trade until the open of the next day. So that's the other reason for that 1 bar delay.
Sure.
Yeah.
Sure. Okay. So it sounds like it's working properly. Thanks for the question, FT. That's all I had.
Yes, thank you. And then this is that kind of a thing. This is not a sales pitch or anything. I want to help you understand how to use this. So, and I'm glad you're using it in India. That's awesome. So very cool.
Thanks for using thanks for using Fulgent AI.
Yeah, absolutely. Okay, so let me go. I've got this again here. I can unpause my screen. I think it's going again. All right, so let's go in here now and do what I should have done, which is pick an expert to retrain. And you see it was actually doing it. Oh, it is doing it. Okay. Well, I thought I had stopped that. All right, here we go. I'll click stop. Maybe that'll work. Except now it's going to, okay. All right, there we are. Okay, so we're backing up to what I was saying a while ago in terms of turning on an expert, because I want to do a demo on that. They're all turned on here, which you can do. It just takes, much longer than we have. So I'm going to turn all these off except for the really fast one, which is quick move. All right. So that one's activated. Any that are checked are going to train. And now let's rewind back to where I was trying to get to. Okay. So I'll close this and check one thing here real quick. Okay, good. All right. And again, so that we picked the expiration. It's still selected. Everything stays selected, MetaStock, so I don't have to do it again. And let's start the expiration again. All right. So back to, it's passing the data right now. Once it does, it should bring up the interface and show me the wonderful little training graph. And I'm going to explain that this time. I'm waiting, Mr. Fulgent. Oh, there you are. Okay, thank you. So initializing training, loading the quick moves indicator. And okay, so right now it is calculating hundreds and hundreds and hundreds of indicators across those 30,000 bars. It's really pretty fast when you think about that it's done. I mean, that was what, 10, 15 seconds. Now what you're seeing happen here is we have a metric that the AI is training to, which in this expert's case is hit rate, which is accuracy. So we're saying find rules that are as accurate as you could possibly get them. The minimum is like 75, 80%. So it is finding rules at that accuracy in the historical data. And you can see the number of rules climbing here. So there's 900 rules. And down here it tells you there's 950 rules, 960. It's on iteration 340. By default, these are set to 500 iterations. And what's an iteration? An iteration is where it makes a population of all those potential rules. It's the GA process. It makes that 1,000 different ones. And then it's scoring them to figure out if there's any good ones in there. And so that's a population. It's one run through a whole bunch of trials on those potential rules. So it does longs first and then shorts. And so, here's shorts, typically less accurate. There's much less data on shorts. The more data, the better it's going to train. That's just a fact. So you can't drive this thing with too much data. Whatever you can pump over there. And of course, the more you do, it'll take a little longer, but you can do hundreds of thousands of bars. I think even up to like 500,000 bars, and it's fine. But the more the better, and the more iterations the better. Okay. So in the main interface, and I will point this out to you, there are two things you can do. One is, I'm going to reinforce it in a second, but one is you can resume this training. So it's going to stop at 500 iterations. It just stopped because that's the increment that we've programmed into it. Why 500 when really you want to do like 2,000 or 3,000 iterations, 5,000 iterations? Because people have this, they're using it, and if they want to see it do something. And so if we had that many in there, they'd be going, well, let's see, maybe it's dinner time. I guess I'll wait, come back tomorrow. So that's why it's like that. But in the main interface, you can click either resume, and it will keep going. Let's just see if that's right. There it goes. Okay, actually, this is the one that I do not want to retrain. So anyway, that's that first one that fired off. It takes a while, so we'll stop on that. Okay. Yeah, so you can resume any training that's happened that you've told it to do. You can also click this little box right here, continuous training. Now, if you check that and you resume or you train, it doesn't matter how it gets started. You can train from scratch. It'll just keep going. It'll do 500 iterations. If that's the only expert you're training, it'll do another 500 and another 500 and another and another and another until you stop it. So that's really cool because you can just set this thing up and have it run overnight and generate, 2,000 or 3,000 rules. There really isn't a practical problem with having a lot of rules. It's very fast and efficient at finding rules that work. I've seen knowledge bases with 8,000 rules in them. So, that's okay. But you definitely want at least several thousand if you can get that many. That's how many the original strategies have. Okay, so going back to this. And like I said, Jeff, if you get a question, please interrupt me. We'll take it. All right, so we just saw this happen, the little training thing come up, and it's training that expert. So we did that. All right. Now what we want to do is go into the interface and actually activate the trained expert. So again, it doesn't mess with the one that's there. It leaves it alone.
Yeah. All right, Ed, you asked me to interrupt, so I will.
Absolutely. That's good.
FT Lieutenant, our Indian user, wanted to know, so the signal when it triggers as soon as the market opens, or I will get a signal after the end of the day for the previous candle?
Well, the answer for this gentleman is that you can train to real-time data and then run it in real time during the market. So On that exploration, I chose daily. I could have chosen 60-minute, 15-minute. It does have a hard time on 1-minute charts. That there's just the data is so like this that it's just hard to find technical moves on 1-minute charts. But anything above that, 5, 15, 30, 60. So you just train on that, and then you run real-time MetaStock with this expert activated, and MetaStock will do its thing and give you those signals. So, but this was designed for end-of-day trading. Fulgent AI, FT stocks is an end-of-day stock trading thing. It's what it was built for. We added the ability to retrain because we got a lot of requests for it. It wasn't hard to do, and that way you can leverage your investment in the Fulgent AI product to trade other markets.
Okay.
So.
One more question for you, Ed.
Yep.
James wants, do you know what the latest version or the latest is for Fulgent? Is it version 1.1.25?
Yeah, it's 1.1. One of my announcements is that we are releasing a 1.2, and I'm going to tell you what that has in it in a minute here. But so 1.2 is going to be out by the weekend. So I'm going to pass that link to Jeffrey. He can pass it on to users. Also, if you email me at fulgent.ai, I'll put you on the list to get the notification for it. But there's some improvements we've made for training because of this process that you're going to want to get a hold of. So, that's the 1.2 version. I'll come back to that in a minute. It's your own time. We're pretty good here. So I'll explain that, what's in it. But 1.1 is the current version. And that's with train. That's what we did. We added training, and that's what became 1.1. All right. So you can see here what I have done is activated the expert that was trained. And it says it was 72% in the training period. That's pretty good. That's pretty good. Remember, it's a genetic algorithm looking at trillions and trillions of possible rules. So different trainings will produce different results. In the manual, there is a procedure for taking these strategies, and it's just a folder, and the manual tells you where it is. I don't want to go into it right now, but chapter 9 says, okay, here's where the folder is. Make a copy of it, name it something, like this is my Forex run Monday. And then, it's just a copy. So do it, use it again, keep doing it, and just write down what the results were and what you see when you run a system test. And that way you can get multiple trainings in very easily, and then pick the best one. So that's something about this. It's never going to get the same answer twice because it is looking at a very large space. But that's a good thing because you want to find stuff out there. You don't want it to be constrained in some way by what I think the market's going to do or anybody else. So I selected that. I selected FT stocks retrain. I selected the one that I want active, and that's good. So I'm good there. I'm going to close this and exit the exploration. But first, I need to bring up my chart here. We trained on, it's probably still active down here. I think it is. Forex has to be. There it is. Yeah. EURJPY. Let's open that chart and see what happens. I interrupted it, so I could have messed that up, but I don't think so. I think it's fine. EURJPY, this is EOD, of course. So it's consulting the engine, and there they are. There's all those quick move signals, a 93 rating on the right edge. There's quite a few in here, and you can restrict. It just went to town on this contract. You can and it is, if I had trained on 3 or 4 contracts, it wouldn't be this intense, like this many signals. The other thing you can do in Fulgent is you can go in here and change accuracy ratings, like let's say up to an 80 close. I'm sorry, I did that too fast. Tools, Fulgent AI. We have a slider down here. It's pretty good in terms of, this is the accuracy of the training period. There kind of needs to be like an actual slider. I've asked the guys to do that for me, but it's pretty good. There's 80 plus here. So if I close that and then refresh the chart, it should be pulling back those from this training. And I don't know what it's going to do because I have not tried that yet on this. So we'll see here. Okay. All righty. Okay, so actually all of these are in the training period or above 80. So, and if you look at them, the quick move, the reason I like it, you can see where the arrows are and the exits are most of the time like up. This is all out of sample. Everything, let's see, from right here forward, January 1st, 2018 is all out of sample. And so you can see that it's really has found really good trades in the Forex market to take. So that is really all there is to it. And I could train the other experts, and I'd see swing in here. I'd see, the other there's 4 total, so volatility breakout and so on. And then of course you're going to get those signals in the exploration if you run the regular Fulgent AI exploration. You're running the training exploration just to make the training happen, and then you just run the regular Fulgent AI stocks exploration to get signals out of it. Okay, so any questions on just this right here? I just retrained on that one pair, so I'm about to launch into a new topic for about 10 minutes. Okay, all right. So there is something you need to know about this that I didn't show it to you because it's something like I have to think about that. It's really a huge benefit, and it has to do with targeting the AI to a specific thing in the market. Because when it retrains, there is the ability to pass any MetaStock indicator over to Fulgent. I've got an example in the slides of that.
Ed, are you ready for another distraction?
Of course.
So another question coming in from YouTube. The quick move is a 3-candle move, but the exit for the quick move appears on the 4th candle. So does that mean you're in the trade for 3 days and you get out on the 4th day?
Well, it's interesting. It's a very similar question to the other one. So I think we need to be clear in the manual probably about this. Okay, so here's your bar, signal fires. Okay, you're getting in here the next day. Mm-hmm. So let's see. So 1, 2, 3, exit signal, exit. That's actually 5 days away from the signal because you got that day delay on both ends. I hope that answers that.
Okay. We did prove, without a doubt, you can do math, or at least count to 5.
Sometimes.
All right. Thanks, Ed.
Sure. Okay. So back to the nuances of this, and any of you who are using indicators like MACD crossovers or anything like that, you're going to love this feature because it is just so amazing. Let me show you what it is. Let's see. I need to get to the indicators. So I think that's under Tools, Indicator Builder. And I go down here and I'm going to find the Fulgent. You find the Fulgent group, and there's several in here. We have the ability to put stop losses on the chart and things like that. So that's what these are for. But there's one called Fulgent User Inputs. Again, this is totally documented in the manual. But if you look in there, this is so simple. There's a lot of stuff down here where we're calling the Fulgent AI engine. It's all exposed. It's exactly what it's doing right down there. But up here in this little area that's marked off right here, you will say what your condition is. And so when the AI is looking for rules, it targets that specific thing, period. It will only generate rules where that is true. So there's a real simple one in here, RSI 3 less than 30 for a long, RSI 3 greater than 70 for a short. So oversold, overbought. I can make that anything. I can call my own little function out here that finds a little whirly gig in the chart that does this and that, the backflip or whatever. It doesn't matter what it is going to train to that. So as you might have already figured out, the training that I just did used those conditions. So if I were to plot, since we're pretty good on time, but I don't need to do this. You can imagine if I were to plot the RSI 3 on this chart, every place there is a low point, these signals that only appear at low points and high points in that chart of the RSI 3. Do I need to do that, Jeffrey? Would that be good for you to do?
Ask me a question.
It's about a quarter after. Are we good?
Yeah, we're fine, Edward. Ed.
I go by Edwards. Okay.
Right.
Okay. Well, let me go ahead and do it.
You're welcome to go a little bit. You're welcome to go a little bit long if you need to.
Okay, that's good. Thank you. So let's look at relative strength index. Drag it in here. Oh wait, no, I got to make an inner window. No, not that. Stop. Hold on. New inner window. There we go. And now I can do it. Okay, let's pull one in here, and it's going to ask me. Let's make it 3 periods. Okay, it's pretty busy. So let's zoom in here a little bit. And so basically every place, there's 70 and 30, right? Nicely marked. So every place we're above 7, I should only see long signals right where you see where that is right there, where this is right here. That's the only place it's going to fire long signals is when RSI is below 30. Pretty cool. Now, what if I want to train on all the data? I don't have a condition. I just want Fulgent to find signals anywhere. Well, I bet a lot of you already figured this out. What you do is you go in here and you say anything that is always true. So let me find that again. There it is. So you would say high greater than low. Low less than high. Always true. That way it is going to look at every single bar for a rule without any pre-filtering. You will find that if you do apply a little boost, just a little something, that it will get better results. And so that's why, when I retrain even just Fulgent myself, I leave that RSI 3 less than 30 and greater than 70, because those are really good places to go long and short generally. And it just helps. The more you can pre-process things and give the AI a little bit of information about where you want to trade, the better it is. You don't want something that's so restrictive that it happens once every 2 or 3 months, because then it doesn't have enough samples to train on. It's got to have enough. So, but things like MACD crossovers should be fine. What else is really popular? A gap. You could do a formula for a gap, like a large gap compared to the rest of the chart. It's pretty easy to write. You want to train on those daggum gaps. Easy. You just make the formula, stick it right there, and then any retraining you do will use that equation. And I have something here that I showed in another webinar that I want to also show here in case someone hasn't seen it. And that is this train on your indicator section, where I show this relationship, and there's the two indicators we just looked at, and I trained it. And there it is. We just looked at that. And here's, this is representative of the kind of signals I got out. Now, the cool thing about this is if you take, that situation, RSI less than 30 or RSI 3 greater than 70, it's not a very good system. I mean, if you traded that, you'd lose your shirt pretty quick, because it's just not, it just doesn't have enough information. But because the AI is finding these signals like this on it, you get these really awesome results. So here's the system without AI. Here it is with AI. So you can take anything you're trading with and let Fulgent AI boost it by training on that situation. Okay, so that is that. All right. And let's see here. So, okay, so that's really what I wanted to show you today on Fulgent. And as far as the mechanics of it, what I can do now is go back into MetaStock. I'm listening for questions from Jeffrey, and we're going to do a real-time run on Forex. Have some fun with that. Okay, hold on here. And we could also do a system test. I've done that. I've seen really good results every time I've done that. Retraining on pretty much any data. Let's see. I'll tell you what. Let's do real-time futures. Well, is that too much? Nah. We have enough time. So let me see here. I'm going to go ahead and go into the Explorer here and find a futures chart. Let's take this guy out and go back up here to the COMEX. Let me have to collapse this down a little bit. Okay, there it is, futures right there. And let's go on the CME. I really had a lot of fun doing this. It's pretty cool. Lots of contracts in here. But the folks at MetaStock told me, Ed, you've got continuous contracts, and they go back really far. That's good. So the continuous contracts end in C1. So I need to go down here to, I'm going to do the British pound. So let's see, let's find that. And it's going to be BPC1. So I've got all the ones are up here ahead of the actual contract. There it is. It's probably a faster way to do this that I'm not aware of. But anyway, it doesn't take that long. Okay, so BPC1, British pound. And let's chart that baby. All right. Now, it's got my Fulgent expert I trained on the Forex is going to come up here. That's fine. But we'll let it do that. And you can kind of see, again, market data is market data. So you will see a lot of really good trades. Of course, they're not all. There's some that don't work out, but a lot of really good entry points at these lows with this quick move strategy. like they're just awesome. But let's retrain on it, and let's do. Actually, I meant to do. Sorry, see, I was talking. That's what happens to me. I need to I need to get the real time version. Okay, BP. This is British pound continuous contract BPC1, and we're going to do 60-minute charts. That should work. Okay, now let's do it. All right. Same thing though when it comes up. Now I have noticed that on the real time data you have these disparities which cause a little bit of a problem for a pre-trained expert, but we're going to retrain this. So there's my chart. I kind of want that up. I am going to now go to Fulgent and set what I want to retrain, which is going to be, I go back to 50 stocks. Let's retrain the same one again and just kind of replace what we just did. So I'm going to leave that on there. I've got it selected. It's fine. Let's go and go back to show all. And so it's set now. Fulgent knows what I want to do. So now I can run the MetaStock exploration to train it. So I go into explorations, and we know that Fulgent training thing is selected because it is the only thing you have to do in Fulgent to train stuff. It's just make sure that's picked. So Fulgent AI training. Now we need to pick the symbol. So I'm going to turn everything off right there, and go down here to futures. All right, we're going to find that thing again. Oh, nope. CME. All right, go down here and find the BP right there. All right, BPC1. It's coming. Aha.
Okay, Ed.
Yes.
One more question. FT wants to know, is the profit trade calculated from the candle where the signal was triggered or the day of the entry?
It's the profit is calculated from the entry, which is the open of the next bar,
Okay.
to the exit, which is the open of the bar after the exit signal.
Okay, that makes sense. So we call that realistic when we talk about market prices.
Yeah, it's kind of what you could get, right?
Yep, exactly. Okay. Okay, back to you.
That's okay. So I'm going down to 60 minutes. Now I'm all synced up. I'm going to load, if I can get 30,000 bars out there, I want it. And I could do other contracts, other futures, other currencies to give it more data that's similar to train on to get to 100,000 bars. We're just going to do 30,000 right now. And let's start that exploration. And it is pretty amazing to me how fast this thing can calculate indicators on 30,000 bars. And because in total in that expert, there's quite a few, like 100 in that particular one. It's not as many as some of the other ones, but it takes it like, I don't know, 10 seconds to calculate all those. And then it takes off. That is just so beautiful to me. I love that. It's just so cool. It's just cranking away. Okay, go program, go. Well, that's going to do 500 iterations. If you got another question while that's going, that'd be good. Or I'll tell you what, if you don't have one, I can tell you about the new release and what we did. Because, as I was doing this, and I really am a user advocate, I want people who get our stuff to go, wow, they got something better each time. And when I was using it, I was kind of dismayed that I had to keep deleting my prior results or saving a folder off, to go between futures and Forex and trading on the stock market. And so what we're doing is we're providing an additional training strategy for you. So you have another one in there. So you can do stocks and Forex or Forex and futures. We may add a third one. It gets a little complicated, not too bad, but that's going to be called version 2. So version 2 will have that extra piece. And like I said, you'll get notified on how to get this very, very soon. We're trying to wrap it up today before the webinar. We just couldn't quite get there. But the other thing that we did with that is we opened it up. Okay. This FT stocks is designed to trade stocks, and the internals of the AI are set for that. So there's limits. There's only so much profit per trade minimum, so much accuracy. And so that the signals are really good because of that. But what can happen is you can try to train on something and it doesn't train because it's too constrained. It's designed for trading stocks. So we took all those constraints off, and it just generates signals everywhere. Okay, I mean, like almost, I don't know, they're all over the place. So then what you can do is use this slider down here with that one. This one's already been really tuned, so it doesn't do that much on this particular one. But on this new one that's unconstrained, you literally can see as you go up, the signals get less and less and less, and better and better and better. So it's real exciting development. And this way you can train any of these experts on anything. You have to be a little careful because you could train on something that has 1,000 bars and it'll tell you you've got all these 100% accurate signals. Well, not really. I mean, that's too little data. You can't find things in 1,000 bars and expect that to hold up. So there's a couple of cautions about that, but with the version 2 strategies or strategy and experts that are open, you just have to, if you're using that, you got to think, I got to go down here and set my accuracy level because it's going to just pump the screen full of trading signals. So, but it's pretty exciting. So that's version, it's either going to be 1.2 or 2. And I think it is going to be 2 because there are software changes we had to make in Fulgent. So it'll actually be version 2. All right, let me go ahead and go in here now. Since that has trained and it is activated, that's great. 88% accuracy average in the training period. I'll close this now, exit this, and let's refresh. Oops, down here. Let's refresh this. All right, refresh the chart. And there they are. So you can see they all moved around. So this was specifically trained to this data, 88% accuracy in the training period, which is prior to January 1st, 2008, so 18. So you can have a lot of fun with this. Try out different things, look at the signals that are being generated. They're just really great prospects. And I know people are trading mechanically off this, especially one of the stock strategies. I think major reversal, people really like that one because it's more of an investment kind of a signal. But for a very short-term move, I like this expert, and it trains quickly because it's only like 100 indicators in it as opposed to 300 or 400. So anyway, there's your British pound real-time 60-minute charts. Okay. Well, Jeffrey, I think that is probably. Let me go ahead and field any questions anybody has on this. And like I say, if I know who you are, if you email, it's going to be the last slide. You'll have it. Ed at Fulgent AI, I'll make sure you're on the list to get the notifications for what's coming out from us for our users. And I'm sure, and Jeffrey, I think they have a mechanism as well to get that out. So
yeah, of course, we will let everybody know. Greg was just saying that you do such a great job, and you're always on top of the Fulgent AI and improving it. I know whenever customers send questions over to the Fulgent team, they get answered quickly. We're really pleased with the quality of work that you do and the caliber of service. So thank you for that too. But there aren't a lot of more questions. I do want to kind of just throw up a side here for people that if they want to get Fulgent AI, how they can actually get it. So do you mind if I do that?
Oh, go for it. That's great. That's great. And thank you all for coming and learning about it. Those who have not been here before, thank you.
Okay, and we had a great group today too, by the way, Ed. So normally the Fulgent AI is $149 a month. We still have it on the introductory price, although it's probably not going to be much longer. Ed keeps at some point it's not in introductory phase anymore, right? You can still lock in that price forever. It's $99 per month. If you don't have a copy of MetaStock to go with it, you can get that at the same time. metastock.com/FulgentA. If you have any questions at all, give us a call. We'd be happy to talk to you. Our phone number is 800-882-3040. You can also chat online with us at metastock.com/saleschat. So there you go with that. Ed, good job again today. Really appreciate it.
Thank you. Make sure they know, if you haven't written this down, edit fulgent.ai. Just make sure you get notified of what's going on if you want to email me. And then there's also the other channel. So
yeah, the way that we'll let people know too is if you're a subscriber, every time we do, and there's been quite a few of them now. But every time we do a Fulgent update, we'll just basically, as long as you're an active subscriber, we just let you know by email. Go download it.
Cool. That's
So-
great. Thank you, Jeffrey.
No problem. Thank you. And thanks for everybody for coming today. Hope you enjoyed it. And we'll see you at the next one.